Vegas knows its stuff, but I got to tell you, I can't believe some of these lines I'm seeing this morning in our bowl games for this afternoon. Well, we're just about 5 to 10 minutes away from the Belk Bowl, so I will not go into detail with Wake Forest and Texas A&M, but one of these bowl situations where you obviously have better talent, better speed and athleticism on one side with Texas A&M. You have a more cohesive unit, coaching staff situation with Wake Forest. Jimbo Fisher, coaching from a distance, not necessarily coaching the team, but coaching the program, evaluating players, doing that sort of thing. Jeff Banks, special teams coach, taking over for the Aggies. I think this is difficult for me. This is one of the more difficult bowl games for me to select. Wake Forest last year was a 2-touchdown underdog to Temple, and they really came through, and I saw that one coming. I don't see anything coming in this one. I got to tell you, this is a guess. Wake Forest to win the game, but I'll take the 4 points. The spread has risen to 4 points. The Aggies have better speed. Wake Forest has had difficulty stopping the run this season. So I take the Aggies with the 4 points, but the game close to Wake Forest, just about an hour away in Charlotte. Demon Deacons playing for a respectable season to move on to 8-5. But if you compare the scores, it's very difficult. Although Texas A&M against its last 3 good opponents, meaning Auburn, they lost by 15 points. They lost by 24 points to LSU. They lost to Mississippi State by 21 points, and 2 of those 3 games at home. So maybe that's something to go on there. Wake Forest, the Duke loss by 8 points in the finale concerns me, but they played well against good opponents and knocked off NC State and BC down the stretch, 2 teams that played well down the stretch as well. Okay, we've got NC State taking on Arizona State at the Sun Bowl. NC State, a far superior football team, or decidedly is a better term, football team that played close to the likes of Clemson, of course. The Notre Dame game was a blowout. That concerns me. But Arizona State playing good against marginal competition. Arizona State didn't get blown out by anybody excluding USC. They get boat raced in that game by 31 points. Otherwise, they stayed close. Again, if you look at bowl games, look at the games thus far. We've had 24 bowl games, and the underdog has won outright 10 times. The underdog is 10-14 against the money line. So NC State wins this game, but I'll take Arizona State plus the 7 points. Okay, these last 2 games, I believe the Big Ten, I'm going to have to run the numbers after the season. I don't know which is the best conference in college football. I think it's closer right now than it's been in recent memory, meaning 15 or 20 years. The 5 conferences are excuse me, very close, still battling the cough, still very close. But 9 points in these last 2 bowl games for the Big Ten. The Big Ten suddenly getting respect. Maybe some news came out or something that I'm unaware of. I've searched the internet, but we've got at the Music City Bowl, the Wildcats Northwestern wins this game. But Kentucky with 9 points. I take that. I run with it. Maybe it doesn't happen today. We know how these games can go. It can be an extremely close game. Northwestern can have a 3-point lead and then score a late touchdown that means nothing with 14 seconds on the clock and win by 10. Sure, Northwestern could cover, but if these 2 teams play 100 times, there's no way that Northwestern covers 9 points more than 30 times out of 100, because Northwestern wins this game probably only 60 or 65 times out of 100. Take Kentucky plus the 9. Ditto the philosophy with USC and Ohio State. Yes, Ohio State is maybe, and people are going to go nuts when I say this, maybe the best team in the country. They're certainly one of the top 5 or 6. I think it's extremely close. I'm not saying they're the best team in the country. I'm saying they possibly could be the best team, especially on any given day. USC is probably on a slightly lower tier, but they've got the X factor. X meaning we know all about him. X meaning he could make the difference. He's not an unknown factor, but he's Sam Darnold. And when you've got an elite quarterback, and this is what makes Georgia, Oklahoma difficult for me to select, elite quarterback could make up the difference for USC in this one. So plus 9 points with away. Ohio State has struggled in pass defense and has seen nothing close to what USC is going to offer in this game. Take USC plus the 9 points in the Cotton Bowl. I believe Ohio State, with the strength of the offense and the defensive lines and the running game with J.K. Dobbins breaking off some huge runs, and Ohio State much more capable of at least containing Ronald Jones, who's a tremendous back. I think this is the best running back face-off, standoff, duel, battle, war in a bowl game this season. Ronald Jones against J.K. Dobbins. The Buckeyes much more equipped to contain Ronald Jones to, let's say, a $115 or a $120, where J.K. Dobbins on limited attempts could run for 150 against USC in less attempts, and Mike Weber could get the tough 75 or 80 yards, and it could be very difficult for SC. But with Sam Darnold and that pass offense and that USC talent, and Ohio State giving up big plays all season, USC plus the 9 points, Ohio State wins the Cotton Bowl. Okay, your winners straight up are Wake Forest, NC State, Northwestern, and Ohio State. But against the spread, you take Wake you take Texas A&M plus the 4 points. You take Arizona State plus the 7 points. You take Kentucky and USC plus the 9 points. It has risen the last couple days. We will see you next time around on the predictions, of course, tomorrow, and then throughout the day with hopefully some instant analysis right here on Mark Rogers TV.